So explain to me first off, like why you pick McCree here, given your composition, and then what you're trying to accomplish. Just very, very basic.
I really feel like McCree is a good hero with the rush comp we are playing.
Okay.
I think he provides a lot of protection against possible flankers and dive comps if they have them.
Okay.
And I was also careful to. I feel like McCree and Anna don't really pair that well, so I was careful to only pick Cree when we have like a buff to actually support him, since Cree can really be kind of a glass cannon. I feel like sometimes.
Okay.
At least against in my experience.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to do, well, since I didn't really know they had double shield in the beginning, I was kind of trying to first scout what they have, and
Sure.
depending on whether they have flankers, like if they have Tracer, I'll play a more defensive playstyle around my team, maybe take some like conservative angles, and if they don't really have any flankers to chase me around, I would try to go a little bit more aggressive and maybe take some more aggressive angles.
Sure. So we've rolled out with Dave, and let's just say that you've seen that they're on double shield now with the Orisa. What kind of playstyle do you think that's going to lend itself towards? Because I think you did a good job explaining both, but like let's just cheat a little bit. What do you see yourself doing? So
in retrospect, I should have probably gone flanking a lot more. Honestly, I should have done some stupid things. Since
why?
I mean, you can't really burn through double shield with what we've got. Like they have 2 shields, we only have Ryan. We can't really like play the slow and spammy game that's rather their kind of style. But I feel like in this VOD I didn't really flank too much, and I was limited by the shields a lot. That's also the reason why I switched to Hanzo in the second round. Okay.
I think it's also not just a question of whether you can break their shields, but whether you even want to. Because even if you were playing a better shield break hero, like let's say like a Bastion, or like you said, a Hanzo, who's probably a little better, do you really even want to when you have angles and flanks that are so available? Just for chat's education, chat, when they're on Orisa Ryan particularly, there's a lot of loss of angle control because there's fewer mobile heroes. Like there's no D.Va to chase down an aggressive off angle. Like if he takes an aggressive angle, just D.Va booster. Sigma as well is a lot more better at controlling off angles than an Orisa, because he's a little bit more self-sufficient. He has a little bit of shields. He has his shift to basically provide him invulnerability. His shield, he can kind of mix and match. He's more fluid with his motion, whereas Orisa has to kind of set her shield on, and now she can't move for several seconds. So with a Sigma or a D.Va, that would limit Dave's ability to move around a little bit more. But if with the Orisa Ryan, those heroes can, like an Orisa could take an angle, but she's just not going to be very good at holding it for very long. So something to kind of consider. Would you agree with that, Adam?
Yeah, I feel like with Orisa Ryan, they're like sort of the epitome of a bunker comp, really. And they can't move very well. If the Ryan starts to kind of go aggressive and go in, he doesn't really have the off tank to support him. Like no Zarya bubbles, no D.Va matrix. Yep. So they're kind of forced to play very passive and wait for something to happen and spam people out. That kind of stuff.
Sure. So I agree with you. I think you should be taking angles here. You scout tank line, you scout DPS line. There just needs to be more angles. And even what you said earlier on, like even if they're playing a slightly more aggressive dive composition, like maybe they're playing something with even just a brawl with a D.Va instead, that doesn't mean that you don't take angles. You just, like you said, a little bit more conservative angles is the way of looking at it. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn up the actual game audio a wee bit, and then we'll get rolling. So I'll ask a lot of questions here, and it might not be a "you're doing something wrong" question. It just is a legitimate question, and I want to see how you kind of pick with it. All right?
Gotcha.
Go! No! Go! Go! Howdy. Hey. Howdy. Activate. Here they come.
Now, is there a better angle for you to take?
Theoretically, I could probably maybe like roll out like to the left of the high ground, but I felt like it was also worth my time to kind of
like here.
No, honestly, that's not really it. No, I'm saying it.
Okay.
Like like where the Doom is far too aggressive in my opinion. Like that's even like too close to them. I could maybe go low ground again if they push in further, but I'm not quite certain. But I honestly think it's worth my time to just deny the Kree there. Since like he's taking good angle, and I can easily deny him. Really.
Sure. So you can deny that angle in this position here as well. Now I want to talk about the low ground angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to necessarily say what's right or wrong all the time, but I'm going to present opportunities and options. You said this doesn't look particularly good. I would agree. Too easy to get spammed out here. You're not really denying or controlling any angle at all. Not meh. Okay. What about, you said this Doom angle? This too far? This too aggressive?
That's like too aggressive. I really feel like it's really hard to rotate back to your team, and like even with their really immobile comp, the Rhine could just basically walk in and kill me, and we'd have to use Lamp and many resources to save me there. Okay.
Okay. What about here?
I think that angle would be better if they would have pushed in further. Honestly.
Why?
Like right there, I can see Orisa and Ryan. I can't really see what's going on like the angle where the enemy Kree is right now. I can only shoot shields, and like from the high ground, I can at least kind of shoot above the shields.
Sure.
But and I have more options as well, I think.
Now you said something really important. You said this angle would be good if they pushed in further.
Yeah, I think in retrospect, I don't think I'd actually do it in this game. But like once they push in further and they are still focused on my team, I can get a better angle on the backline.
Okay.
If the backline pushes in as well.
Okay. I think this becomes a question of not just worrying about backline here, but if the tank line pushes in further, why is this angle still good?
Punish them easily.
Right. There's not, what they're going to do is they're going to go 3, 2, 1 point unlocks. They're going to walk underneath here, and they're going to stabilize. But if you're here, are they stabilizing?
Yeah, no, they can't really.
No, there's nowhere for them to hide.
Yeah.
So you said if they go in further, my response to you is not if, but when they go in further, you rotate. Does that make any sense? So I think where you are now is fine, but you should already be thinking, okay, if these guys push in a little bit more aggressive, this is an option. Now, I know this is a little bit map specific, but it's something good to have kind of in the back of your mind, that you don't just pick one position and you stick with it, but you're also thinking like, okay, is there any other angle that I can hold in this map?
Right.
Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, this is my jam.
Because right now, obviously, this is probably the best thing that you could be doing right now. But it's not always going to be the best thing. Like right now, though, this is not good. This is not good. What should you be doing right now? Right now. What should you do?
I should probably continue shooting. But no, honestly, I'm not quite sure. Like if we have looked at it, like my Rhine is dead, my buff is dead. I should probably do something stupid, honestly, like shoot flank, maybe go for a pick or something.
Yes. Your options here are limited. You can go this way. You could go this way. You can also walk across here, jump, roll, flash, fan, and try and get a trade, just so that your retake will be a little easier. But yeah, this isn't it. This is not it. Not when you're down to.
Yeah,
The objective is now active.
I mean, great job, but still, like, it's crazy that they gave you that kill. Okay.
Too slow.
Now I'm not so sure. So now you've got a couple of picks. So like, what do you think? What do you think is a play now? I've changed my mind now after what just happened there. What do you think?
I think I should kind of wait for my Doom to be ready again to go in, and then I should probably like use the chaos if he even goes in.
Yeah.
I should kind of use the chaos he created.
Sure.
Maybe get a cheeky flashbang kill, do something stupid.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. That seems fair. Yeah. Let's actually see what happens. Nice. And the thing to notice as well is that like this is the strength of a good position, right? Because
being uncontested all the time.
Right. It's just, and this is why like the lack of diva has like been a real problem for them, is because, and even Lucio speed, because they're just stuck on the floor. They're stuck on the floor. Nothing can contest you. So this entire time they've technically won this fight, but not really. The high ground is still uncontested. So you've got nowhere to go. So you just keep killing people.
Yeah, I just wish I couldn't touch it.
I mean, it's not great, but it's fine. Easy. Okay. I clearly very winnable fight, I guess. Now, what we've done here is we've tagged onto a lot of details, right? We've looked at, okay, like what was another angle you could have done? How do you respond to being down to? How do you respond to kind of still being in a good position and actually close to even, right? And now you've basically had all the time in the world, at least you do now, to very clearly see or decide how you want to play. You see their comp, you're set up, you're on defense, you have all the time in the world. So you tell me, before we actually see what you actually do, what you should do.
I think, first of all, what I will do is that I'll probably continue playing on high ground.
Okay.
But I'm not certain whether that's the play here, since like they have top now. I feel like they have even more spam. It's really going to be difficult to what my Wine wants to do is drop onto them at some point, and I feel like I should be ready for that and kind of have an angle ready for when he kind of drops. Supposedly he's going to drop like in the choke, and I think something very risky, but maybe valuable would be to kind of flank far right maybe, and like wait for my Wine to drop and then come in from the back, like kind of right here, maybe here.
Yep.
I think that would be like pretty risky, but I think it could pay off.
Yeah. Can you move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth, by the way?
Yeah, sure.
That's great. Thank you. I agree. This makes total sense. Like, they have no way of like stopping you outside of the McCree himself, or the Dave himself rather. You can pincer here, right? You play around your Rhine and your Doom initiating, you take an aggressive position, and you punish off of the aggressive position. Now, let's say you don't have time to set up an angle. How could you play? Like, let's say that your Rhine is up here, and you're like, I'm not able to get on this flank, and your Rhine just goes. What could you do?
Honestly, I would probably stand like on top of like right where your where the camera is right now, and try to maybe get like a flashbang kill or something. I think actually right like on top there, it's kind of risky since you don't really have that much cover.
No.
But I feel like you get a better angle onto their backline, not onto their squishies, while the Rhine is like pulling all the attention onto him. Yeah,
makes sense to me. Okay, yeah. And if you really want to go to the worst, not the worst thing, but something that you can also do. Worst case scenario is if your Rhine Diva do just go and just roll and flash. Just run in and flash. They have no answer to your flashbang. So you can just run in with your Reinhardt and get value there. So let's see what happens. So we have a lot of options of things that you can do. The worst thing that you could do versus their comp is just play AFK on main at range. Worst thing that you could do. Okay. Thoughts so far?
Honestly, like since my Rhine is staying in lower left, I think it's fine actually. If they try to push my Rhine, I think they get at least a good angle onto the tanks.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that the value is limited really.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the difficult part, right? Why?
Yeah. Now I have like. It's too late to do like a big rotation or a big flank, and I'm kind of stuck where I am and don't really know where to go.
Why is being stuck where you are bad? What's wrong with this position?
Yeah, like I can't really shoot anything like valuable. I can shoot shields, but what's the value of that?
Yep. What else is the problem? What do you risk every single time you peek here?
Like I can just get spammed out like one shot by top or something. Like,
there's a damage boosted Torb and a damage boosted Dave. Okay, that's no good. You're not on an angle. You're not playing shorter sightlines. You're not going to get value. If your Rhine commits here, what the heck are you going to do? You know. So to me, your options are you can continue to play this here and just make it so that if their Rhine pushes your Rhine, what are you doing?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you're shooting him in the back. You could do, you know, I mean, we talked about this here. I don't know if you could just like crouch here, but at least here you would be in a better position when your Rhine does push to aggressively push or aggressively peek. Or
That seems pretty cheesy, honestly. I don't like the second option that much.
Sure. So then your third option is what? The first one that you brought
Flank
up.
right. Flank right.
The hard flank, right? This would be so absolutely beyond annoying to deal with for them.
Yeah.
Even if you don't even get a kill here, just so annoying.
Yeah, the thing is just at this point it's too late to flank right there, honestly. I think the best kind of substitute for that would be to like go through the right arch, maybe like hide and wait for them to really commit and then go in. But that's I could easily get pushed out there. That's kind of risky.
Yep. The other thing that you could do as well is like we talked about, like just the flash fan, is you could just stack with your Rhine and just 3-2-1 run in against their calm, right? It's better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. But what you're doing right now is indeed nothing. So. Yeah, this is just disastrous. You're just not able to do anything. Whereas before we saw you maintaining and abusing this position a lot because the fight was happening on point. Hey, Pear, thanks for the sub. Now your team is like trying to like push, and what are you doing?
Nothing really.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, take an angle around where the fight's going to happen, right? If the fight's not happening within, like if your Ryan let them push all the way into like here, would this position here be bad necessarily? If your Ryan was just like AFKing in here?
So I say again, I was...
Sure. If your team let them walk all the way into point and your Ryan was just hiding in here, would this position be as bad?
No, I think it would be a lot better.
It'd be a lot better. It'd be okay,
yeah.
Right? But you guys are pushing out here, and you're just like standing right behind your Rhine, but 30 meters away. No.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I have a really, really important question for you when we're done with this. Okay, let's just see how long you guys get. 51, 2, nice. Okay. So we talked about the error, okay? The error being choosing the wrong angle, being in the wrong position for the wrong fight. But we also recognize that it was a little bit tricky because that position that you were in, the previous fight was pretty good, but this fight, it didn't work. So we had to talk about why that was the case. Okay, now this is the really, really, really important question that needs to be answered. The most important question that we could possibly ask is how are you going to fix this? How do you look at this? How do you fix this error? What is the error? You kind of see what I'm saying?
Like, probably lack of communication. Like, kind of my Rhine apparently wants to take the fights at the choke, so I should be prepared for that.
Okay. Was your Rhine talking this game and communicating that kind of stuff?
I don't really remember that, actually.
Okay. Is that something that you can always rely on, either?
No, not really.
Okay. Could you have predicted or could you have played around a lack of communication here? Let's assume worst case scenario, your Ryan's left voice channel. Could you have, was this just simply unlucky or could you have reasonably made a better decision given the information you had?
Maybe I could have, thinking about it, I could have maybe like started in a different position altogether. I could have maybe started like more to the right on the low ground. Then I would have been able to rotate up top, and I would have been able to rotate like to the far flank, to the far right.
So you're saying you basically choose a position to where no matter what your Reinhardt decides to do, you have an option.
Yeah, exactly. Like a position where I can rotate to basically every possible position I could take.
Okay, that seems like a reasonable assumption, and just simply you thinking about that possibility might actually help you to make better positioning decisions as well. Because it's forcing you to actually start thinking about that, right? What possible angles could I want to hold? Could it be left? Could it be right? It's forcing you to think. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Do you think that's something that's reasonable for you? Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I've got unfinished business.
Now, what's the game plan for you? I don't know what's going on with your team, but what's the game plan for you?
I think this point, I'm either expecting my Ryan to go up top, up top of the stairs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if he does that, I'll just stay here and shoot him from an angle. I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
And if he decides to go onto point and they drop, I'll most likely either also stay here, or depending on how many of them drop, I'll take high ground.
Okay, so you're saying if Ryan goes here, I will stay, maybe.
Yeah.
Ryan goes here, I might stay, or I might go boo.
Yeah, exactly.
And run these guys over. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Another option as well might be that your Ryan goes to clear high ground, that you go with him to help clear high ground. They all drop, and then your Ryan drops, and then you can stay on high ground and like off angle from here. So you got different options. So let's see what happens. Obviously, we're flexible, so let's see what you do. Oh. No.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. I don't want to focus on this too much. Seems a bit unlucky.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Unfortunate. I mean, technically, you rotated a little ahead of your Ryan. That was the mistake, and you were. But it's not like, you know, it was a mistake. It's not something like fundamentally wrong with the gameplay necessarily. So we won't sweat over it. Now. Okay. What do you got?
And I think now I've decided to take like a different approach and just flank far right from.
Why?
Or, like take a far flank from the beginning. Like they are clearly set up in the left corridor here, and it's going to be really difficult for us to push through this. Like they have a lot of spam. I don't even know why my Ryan is taking that. Like going through this small corridor, honestly. But
okay.
I've decided that I'm not playing up with that, and I'll just like flank right side and get some value from there.
Okay, maybe you guys are like looking to Diva Bomb in here or something. Okay, but yeah, I agree. So you're saying I don't want to go in here because I'm definitely not going to get an angle in here because they're not setting up around here where I can clear high.
Yeah.
No, they're just going to smash you in the face right here, and you're going to be stacked with your team. It's going to be right. So you're going to go here and see what you get. Now, the two things that I'm going to want you to use is timing, right? You know, that obviously
and
that
cover
one.
It. Timing and cover, yeah.
Yes, and cover, exactly. So,
yeah.
Now, why is cover important? Why is cover important? Because obviously everybody gets the first one, but a lot of people forget the second reason why cover is important. What's the first reason?
I suppose, for one, I like to use cover to kind of, if that makes any sense, like only peek one person at a time. That makes sense?
Yeah, sure.
So like I can basically take a 1v1.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I take damage, I can easily back off and not die.
Just general survivability. Now, if we chain off of that, you being able to survive and being able to survive longer because you have cover, what does that mean for the enemy team? How long are you able to hold an angle when you have cover? Longer.
Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's important because especially in higher ranks, when people are actually paying attention to what's going on around them, there's psychological pressure. There's distraction of, oh, somebody's on an angle, somebody's on a flank. Somebody's on an angle, somebody's on a flank. So like if you can maintain pressure there longer because you're using cover and jiggle peeking, it's like a Widowmaker. You know, there's a Widowmaker in your backline or a hog in your backline, and it's torture. Like if you can't see them and they're just jiggle peeking and then they grab a health pack and you're like, it's really unsettling. So you're okay. Let's see what we got. Brilliant. Now, do you need to win this duel?
I wouldn't say so necessarily. I think my main priority here is actually staying alive and trying to like prolong my pressure.
Yep.
Especially since like you can see that he has the bongo advantage.
Yep.
So I'm really careful here not to
get
too much.
Exactly. You don't need to win this duel. If it's a 1-for-1 trade, but you're taking, maybe you're forcing Mercy to beam him, or you're dealing with a bongo as well. It's actually really important that you don't die here. Like, let's put it this way, chat. When the tracers are mirroring, right? One tracer has a squishy backline, the other tracer has the not squishy backline. The tracer with the not squishy backline, the Moira Lucio, needs to go kill that Zenyatta, because if they don't, the Zenyatta is providing more value than your Moira is, kind of. It's a very rudimentary way of looking at it. That's how it is, right? Whereas if you're the Zenyatta's tracer, All you have to do is keep that Tracer busy. You don't even need to win the duel. Just keep her busy and keep your own backline alive. So like right now, you look at this fight, this McCree, as you said, whether it's Bongo, Valak Beam, whatever, has a significant advantage over you. So if you just 1-for-1 here, it's not really a 1-for-1. He has a lot more resources than you, and the fact that you're able to take this trade and survive would be huge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I actually have to. That should work. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And do you see, this is all this. Look at all this. Look at all the psychological pressure here. Did he just flashbang?
I don't think so.
Ah, he did.
Oh, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
I knew
Okay.
it. See, he's scared. Oh, he doesn't have flashbang.
Oh, okay.
I could have sworn I heard something. Okay. Either way, this is brilliant. Now, this is I can tell you right now that I don't really want to get into like 1v1 duels here. You've lost sight of him, right? So that's the really scary part. You don't know where he is, so that's where you have to be really careful. You need to find a new cover, because cover is always relative, right? Is this cover for them? Yes, but is it going to be cover for McCree peeking this angle? No. So let's just see how this plays out. Let's not overthink it. Let's just see how this plays out. Huge. Survive.
Much better.
Come on. Yes. Yes. Very good. And this is like one of the silent carries, if I dare use like a trite term. You know what I'm saying? Brilliant. So you tell me what did you do here? Let's look at this from a third person perspective. What did you do here?
So I forced the Queen to chase me.
Okay. What does that mean
what
does that mean for your team?
They have way less pressure on them, since the McCree was also bongoed, so he's basically losing kind of in a way 1.5 times the value that I'm losing.
Exactly. Can you imagine? You'd be sitting with your backline, yes, but their McCree would be like bang, you know, like damage boosting, shooting, like it'd be terrifying. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and then of course I kill Bongo, which enables my team to push in, since like Bongo is basically what's stopping them.
Boom.
And yeah, and then the Mercy apparently beams him as well. I didn't really notice that during the fight, but yeah. That's also some resources that I take away. And yeah, that's it really, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot, but that's a lot, right? Like you took more than a 1-for-1 trade, taking a damage boosted McCree with you, away from your team, and a Mercy Beam for a brief period of time, and you broke Bongo, and you survived. That's the key thing. You survived. You're able to get a lot of value done and able to survive. Brilliant job.
Taking the point. Who's with me?
So if we go back and apply the little bit of logic, just so we can carry some consistency over. Remember how we were talking about how you don't know where or when your Rhino is going to go in, so you're going to hold an angle that gives you options. Now, did this angle or did this push here give you options?
Well, I could. Yeah, well, for one, if it goes badly, I'm about to die. I can obviously take the health pack. I can deepen the angle as I did. Yeah, exactly. I can do that. I can even retreat to my team, but I don't think that would be the play at all. Like at any point in time, really. I don't know.
You could also, if they push in, what can you do here? Are you going to be left out to dry?
No, I can obviously, I can get closer to like some cheesy flashbang play, create some chaos, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I could maybe
like if they had pushed in here, if they'd done something like a 6-man push, which seems kind of crazy to me, but you wouldn't have been like, oh, I guess I'm just going to force point. No, you could have actually walked in and had immediate access to the backline. Right. So yeah, you had options here. Something to always consider. Okay. Okay. Now this is where active learning must have happened. This is where like it probably won't happen, but we're gonna be nitpicky and assume that it has, because what do we want from you here? What do we want from you?
Again, like to take some aggressive angle.
Yeah.
Try to basically not stay with your backline and shoot shields.
Yeah. So we hope that you're not going to go back here and shoot here again, unless you see your Rhine basically playing completely AFK in this corner. But even then, like you said, maybe just a position like this or a position like this would be better because it gives you options. You can go to high ground, you can stay here, you can deepen. I just don't want to see you just sitting up here again. What happened last time? Because it's.
I can tell you already. I will.
You will, of course, but that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like that's the number one problem. And this isn't just a McCree problem or a GM player problem. It's just an Overwatch. It's just a people in the world problem where making a mistake is not a problem. It's making the same mistake. And the problem isn't even making the same mistake again, because even the world's greatest players, they always make mistakes. But the problem is right now, there really isn't anything else you need to be working on. Your aim is okay. You don't need to be thinking about how I'm using flash. You maybe are thinking about how you want to high noon. Maybe that's the only thing that could potentially be distracting you. But really, if you think about it, that's the most important thing right now. Is where do you want to set up? That's it. That's your gameplay in a nutshell. Somebody in chat, Free Fundamentals, playing an angle that gives you options, or play Dave in a position that gives you options. Sure, yes. That's all you need to worry about right now. And so you're tunnel visioning, you're autopiloting. This is what people call autopiloting, where you know high ground good, I go here, and you're not really evaluating the situation. You're not thinking about how last fight went, and so you're going to do poorly. Now, when you're thinking about these things in the middle of a fight or even between fights, there is going to be a little bit of distraction factor, and you are going to play a little bit worse, but you're going to actually learn and improve. You're not learning and improving right now. And that's the problem. The problem is not the mistake. It's the fact that you're making this mistake again in the same fashion and in the same way shows that you're not learning and you're not improving. That's the problem. If you were to go, I'm going to try going really deep, and then you were to just feed because you were too early, I would rather that than what we see here. What are you doing right now?
I'm dodging a noon really. Like,
yeah.
I saw that they pushed in quite far,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not sure if I'm thinking about rotating to the right side.
It's a theoretical question.
Yeah.
The correct answer was nothing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like right now you're dodging a noon. But like my point is that this position has just once again screwed you over.
Yeah.
And you know, like, yeah. I mean, in a way, the high noon was actually really good for you. Why? What did your Rhine do? What did your Rhine do? Did you see what your Rhine did?
You gave him a lot of space, so
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
my position was like got better really.
Right, exactly. You lucked out because they nooned early. Your Rhine essentially AFK'd and just let them walk into point. Well, now that they're on point, now if you can walk and use this little like standpoint here, now this is actually pretty decent, and which is exactly what you're doing. So, congrats, you won the lottery in terms of the fight plan for the enemy team here. But obviously, you know, you got lucky. You didn't make. Because now this is actually fairly scary. You see, this is actually fairly scary for them. But you got lucky. But you got real lucky. And it still doesn't work out. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I don't have a whole lot to say, do you?
Not really.
Okay. I think we've hammered home the point well enough. Clearly not working. We're on the legs. Let's just have fun. Come on, let's go. What do we got? What do you got for me? Run. Oh, unlucky. Come on. Pop off. Let's go. Oh, we got the touch. Nice. Wait, I think you're a little early. What happened to the Torb turret? Did it get shattered?
No, it shot like down below.
Oh. It was just locked. Oh! It's because it was shooting the shattered target.
Yeah, exactly.
It was shooting the shattered target, so it wasn't moving.
Yeah, I was kind of shooting but that as well. I moved.
Nice clip. Oh! I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay. Unfortunate. Okay, so fairly straightforward. in terms of what you need to be doing? What do you need, what how would you phrase it easily? Because the thing is like the reason why it's important for us to be able to phrase improvements or goals or problems easily is not because it makes it nice and dandy for the VOD for a stream. It's because so you remember it easier and you understand. So when you go into a game, you're not sitting there thinking of 4 or 5 different sentences that I told you. So how would you phrase it?
Something like having options, maybe?
Sure. Think about your positioning in terms of what options it gives you in terms of angles. Now, for those of you in chat who are plat or gold or even diamond or masters, you're not going to be able to get to this level. All I want you thinking is finding an angle with cover and then pressuring at the same time as your team. But Ab is at a level to where that needs to be leveled up a little bit more. That's not always good enough. You can hold an angle, you can have good cover, and you can be pushing at the same time as your team, but it might not be the best angle. Maybe it's an angle that doesn't give you a lot of options. Maybe it's an angle that in the compositional matchup, Lucio versus Mercy, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So that's where he has to go a little bit further. He has to go a little bit more with what he can get out of, Dave, okay? So now we're on our old friend Hanzo. And what I would like to do is going into this is instead of asking you, why are you playing Hanzo? What does the match look like? No. The heroes are actually remarkably similar. McCree, or Dave and Hanzo, right? In terms of play, right? What are the only minor differences, would you say?
For one, Hanzo can't deal with flankers as well, which isn't really important against Jacob anyways. Mm-hmm. But I feel like and the thing I utilize with Hanzo a lot more is that I can take longer angles. So he has a longer effective range. You can you basically don't need to deal with fall off.
Yes.
And I think.
Yes, I mean I would say it is the longer angle. It is the less versus flanker favorable matchup, right? The one other thing I would say is what is his passive? Because I think this is actually fairly important.
You mean wall climb or?
Yeah.
So he of course he's able to take different positions more easily. For example, on the first map, I could have taken the window with Hanzo if I played Hanzo.
Yeah.
It would have been a really great position.
Right. The ability to wall climb, lunge, etc. just gives you more options, so you can choose better angles that a static hero can't choose, essentially.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a really important aspect of Hanzo, maybe the most important aspect of Hanzo, and especially considering that's something that you're already trying to work on with your Dave.
Yes.
I want to carry that over here too. I want to keep that going. I mean, maybe if you're Sonic Arrow, I always say Sonic Bow. If your Sonic Arrow usage is atrocious, or your Storm Arrow is atrocious, mm-hmm. or your Dragon is atrocious, maybe we'll shift slightly. But I'd like to kind of keep a consistent theme here. Go ahead.
I think this round actually goes fairly well. I feel like I'm taking pretty good angles. The fights also go very favorable.
Excellent.
But I think the real problem is the third round. I don't feel like I'm providing a lot of value there.
So maybe that will be it'll be good to see some good examples of you doing it well. And even if you think about what you did on the previous round, you legitimately single-handedly carried a fight on a retake with applying the very same concept that you choked on 2 other fights. So. Okay. So this is pretty much exactly what we talk about right here. You're able to just kind of cheat and just get up here right away, which allows you to take this angle here or to take this angle here, or if they do contest you up here, they're running right into you, right? So you can already see what basically what tap is limited to on, or Mafios, I guess, now is limited to, versus what you can do, and how much safer, how much more aggressive. It's got everything going for it. All right, so let's see. Good use of Storm Arrow. Good, nice. Now now you're gonna tell me where you're gonna shift here. What are you gonna do, positionally wise?
Maybe I could deepen my angle and go further left.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, you literally could just boing. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's it really.
Okay, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I mean I agree because it's so incredibly safe. It's so impossible for them to kill you here. And then by doing that, they have literally no cover at all. Once you're here, that Rein has nowhere to hide that he will not be shot by Lucio or Bap or Kree or Diva or you. And the thing is especially now that they're still running Orisa Rein, who can contest you up here? Who can stop you from shooting this? Who can get in your face?
Not like
nobody.
Theoretically maybe Bap, but that's it.
Right,
like
theoretically Bap.
Realistically.
Exactly, theoretically Bap. I mean, this is where Orisa has her halt to deal with angles, but that's the only option she have, and she's dead. So this fight is already over. Even let's say this Orisa was standing here, I would say this fight is 85% lost for them.
Yeah. Even
if they still have their Orisa alive. Okay, and you don't have to hit a shot either. That's the thing. You don't have to hit a shot. Because you just being here, forcing attention, forcing them all huddle like cold mashed potatoes, like it's over. Probably one of the worst analogies I think I've ever used. Okay. Alright. Let's carry over our thought process from the previous round. Where do you want to position? Remember what we're working on options or angles that give you options, right?
I think this position is quite like, especially since I can already tell where they're going to go. I think this angle provides me with a lot of options, since I can, for example, like use my lunge to get onto the building in the middle.
Yeah.
I could drop and like take lower right. I could just stay here, which is also a decent angle, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've got a lot of. I think my positioning is quite good here.
I think so too. I think you have multiple options, at least 3 immediately available to you. You're safe. You're using high ground. This is good. Very good. I got a question in chat. What should the enemy team do if they're both main tank players? I think Orisa Rein is okay on the previous map because it's like generally closer sightlines and there's not as much high ground except around point. I think Orisa Rein's fine. I think Orisa Rein is also fine on the next point as well. This one, Orisa Rein is not good. The high ground and open space is way too oppressive. So if you were 2 main tank players going something like Ball Monkey, Orisa Ball, Rein Ball, not good comps, but better than Orisa Rein here. You need something with some verticality. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. Because if you think about it this way, think about this, Rein pushing here with his team, but then the Wrecking Ball comes up and slams the Bap Hanzo, like app up here. That would be very helpful. But they didn't have that option.
The dragon's
now,
eyes.
This is why it's so important for your positioning to have options. Because what happens to what does your team do here?
Yeah, we take a close fight and I can immediately just
yes.
kind of blank right.
I was not expecting this, and I don't think you were either. I'm like, whoa, Yuckage or whatever his name is. What's going on, man? Okay. I guess we're stuffing them in this joke. Okay, but because you were relatively well positioned, you could reposition quickly enough.
See,
nice Sonic, and look at this. Now, why did you Sonic this here for the plats in chat?
I was thinking that maybe like Hanzo or Kree or something flanked there, so I could be aware of it.
Right. You were thinking that they were going to try and take an off angle around where the fight was happening, and they would try. Exactly. And so you wanted to make sure that you Sonic there. It gives you information if there's nobody there. This Sonic being blank is the best news you could possibly have, because now you can do this. Just press E. Nice. Now, my only nitpick here. What's the only problem with what you did here? The only problem.
Maybe that I peeked a little bit far.
Yes. Sure. So I want you to watch. So you start to peek here, and let's see when you start. Okay. Now you can see them all.
Yeah.
You see this? Now, are you okay here? This is probably okay. But then what do you do? Watch. You continue to move right. Right? And if going to your POV.
That's where I got
good. And then you keep going right. Too much, right? And you can see here, especially because you don't have lunge, if this McCree hits his next shot, you are dead. If it's a headshot. Yeah. So, just a minor thing. And again, here, it's like one of the situations here where like just those first couple of shots, you've already done work, right? You've put a lot of damage out. and you're going to force a lot of attention your way. So let's watch here. Bang, bang, Stormbow. Look at the McCree. Look at the BAP. Like they're all spooked, right? So you even if you had just peeked there and been a little tighter on the corner, would have been fine. Make sense? Okay. But excellent job. I really had to dig deep there to find a problem with anything. Now, you seem more like you were set up for a close fight, but then your team just goes even more aggressive.
Yeah. So I think theoretically, I could, like, one of the options I have is like flanking right side, going to like where the mega is around there.
Yes.
And getting a good angle on them. But I think I've decided that since we have a window and I've got like this huge one-shot opportunity, I can just kind of spam and also get decent value from there.
Sure. It also, again, looks like you just weren't quite ready for your team to go this aggressive.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
To be honest, like honestly, so I'm not going to give you a hard time about it. This is where the difference between ranked and scrims really comes into play. Because these are all good players, but there's just a very clear disconnection with like what you guys are actually doing, and you're just not there. Because like you said, optimally, can you imagine this? Like, holy smokes, or this, like you were saying, a lot of value. But you just now it's kind of too late. So surprised it wasn't a bigger bomb. So you recognize, okay, we're just going to continue to fight here. So I should probably get an angle. That's good, especially with lunge. I mean, actually, if you think about it, lunge is a really great way to quickly change your angle, to be a little bit faster and changing your angle, just like Dave's roll.
Yeah, but I'm, on that point, I'm not quite sure. I think I've heard someone say that you should use Dave's roll to kind of disengage from an angle. And is lunge the same, or is it okay to also use both?
No, you use either interchangeably. Right now, the worst thing that you could do right now is just walk. Oh, now the beat's faded and your team has lost the fight.
Yeah, okay.
You need to get to your position fast. Obviously, optimally, you would already be here. And then you could use your lunge aggressively. Like this Orisa halt. She throws out an Orisa halt, you need your lunge to break halt. Okay, as you climb in the ranks and as you start to play against like Overwatch League players, they will halt you in off angles. You need lunge to break it. You need it. But the most important thing is to actually shoot people during a team fight. And if you as Dave or Hanzo, and you need to get here so you can actually do things, then that's a priority. So that's why, like, saying things like, oh, this is the only way you're allowed to use this ability, no, do not use it aggressively, bull crap. Sometimes you just have to use it. I think the important thing to note is that you would like to be able to only have to use it defensively because you're already set up in a good position ahead of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. It's not great. We always like pairing Sonic and Dragon. I get why you did it, but I think even if you had just waited a second here and let them walk in a little bit, probably would have been a lot better. Oh dear, not so good. Okay, I think the big mistakes here were just not on your end. Were specifically, I think the Sonic into Dragon combo that should be like just needs to be constantly combined. Like again, I'm not saying you like the lunge. There are going to be times where you Dragon without a Sonic. I'm not saying never ever do it, but as much as you possibly can. If you can wait 1-2 seconds, please combo those. And the second thing, which wasn't really your fault, but something that we do have to highlight, is that once again, there seemed to be a little bit of a problem with how quick you're able to respond to where your team is setting up to take a fight. I don't think it was your fault, this fight. I don't want to blame you for it, but it's just something to be aware of. And it highlights the importance of you being in an angle where you can quickly change. Okay, let's go.
Greetings.
So like this is actually a perfect example right here, right? Do you have any idea that they're going to close hold here?
No, not really.
No. If you did, where would you go?
Left.
Left, immediately, exactly.
And I think I'll even go left right now since like
Correct.
I can't really stay there.
Correct. Correct. But just something to always be aware of. Okay?
Yeah, alright.
If they stay here, they're screwed.
Yeah, and if they don't push in, I should deepen my angle.
Yep. Surprised you didn't storm that. Get him. Fine from you. I really think the only mistake was just maybe being quick to react, and then obviously, please storm this. This Ryan should be dead.
Yeah, alright. Fair.
Even if you do lose it on the obviously on the angle, like Storm is just better in duels and better in tanks because it's easier to hit.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I think outside of that, you played it fine.
Let them up.
So it's a little scary here without a Sonic. Okay, now you can Sonic this. Uh-oh. It's a big problem here.
Yeah, I think I'm too early.
Too early. Why?
Yeah, my wine is just pushed back.
Why?
They windowed, I think. Oh, no, wait, yeah, they windowed. Exactly.
Yeah, they windowed, yeah. And you're windowing as well, but generally once window trades happen, both teams are just going to kind of sit still, right? Most of the time. So, yeah, not great. Not great. Now, is your position here good?
I think it's decent.
Does it give you options?
So, I actually don't like that I'm on the left side of the arch. I think that's, like, if I want to cross back, it's kind of difficult, but it, of course, gives me the option to, like, flank further, but I don't think I would do that.
Okay.
It's, like, it's a long way and takes too much
So
time.
you're saying you would prefer to be here, so it gives you the option to go back to your team?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to cross in the open to do that, okay? And then if you're also here, if they back up, then you can just quickly adjust to here and then do this number here, right? Yeah, I would agree with that, yep. That's the kind of analysis that you should be doing consistently. If you did nothing but just look at every single team fight quickly, 10 seconds, and think, was I in the best position for the fight? Was I in the best position for the fight? Was I the best angle for the fight? I think you get a lot out of it. It would take you literally like 2 minutes per replay code, 2 or 3 minutes per replay code. Maybe a little longer, but like you're a DPS player, you've got that time and kill. But yeah, the main problem here is like I think the angle is okay, it could be better, like you said, but the main issue is the timing of this dragon. Because yes, you're going to cause some disruption, but your team is not going to be able to capitalize off of it because they're AFK because of this window. You guys can't push through that. I mean, you could, but your team is not, so you're just kind of blindly dragging. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Nice, that's great. Storm, nice. The best part about Storm is you don't even need to think about it. You just mash the E and smash it in the general direction.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm not really doing very much.
Yeah, you don't need to do very much with it unless it's an actual duel. Then you need to be thinking about it. But yeah, this is just you mash it at red, and there you go.
I'm on fire. See through the dragon's eyes.
You can storm this. You should storm this. Definitely.
Okay.
As they're crossing, like you're gonna get it again by the time they actually get like up close. But that's just gonna slow them down. It's gonna make it really ugly for them to touch.
Step right up.
Because what is Storm? What is it, like 420 damage? I think.
I'm not even sure the numbers really.
I think it's 6 times 70 or 5 times 70. It's a noticeable DPS increase in shields. So it's worth using it. And I like this. You recognize what that you guys.
My wine is charging in like a very smart player.
Right. You recognize. Well, I mean, okay. If we can break it down to like a simpler way, is there a fight happening here?
Where's here?
Where you're looking? Just this general vicinity.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think everybody here was kind of anticipating you guys putting a little bit of early pressure and then falling back to point, right?
Yeah.
That's not happening. You guys are actually fighting here. So now you're like, oh shoot, I need to be on an angle, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay. I don't think they touch. Their Mercy should have touched, but she didn't. Yeah, okay. That's all we're gonna have time for. That being said, do you feel like you had some questions answered here?
I think that's I think
okay. Is there anything specific from the last round that you wanted to look at? We won't have time to look at the full last round, but is there anything specific you wanted to look at?
think. No, I don't think there really is.
Okay. Do you have a clear idea of like what you need to be working on?
Yeah. So the big thing is really having options. So kind of the big concept of kind of thinking where like could fights be happening? Where are we going to take the fight?
Mm-hmm.
And how could I position in a way that for one I can rotate to like leave. I need to be in a position
Yep.
that gives me all the options to rotate to different positions depending on where the fight is happening.
Correct.
And then, of course, I need to capitalize on those positions and take the right ones at the right time. That's
Correct.
also important.
Correct.
I think.
Of course, the fundamentals of like, you know, cover and timing and all those things.
Yeah.
But the one that you seem to be continually forgetting was just an angle that gave you options. And really, sometimes it just didn't even look like you were thinking about your positioning at all on the first round. It just kind of like you just kind of autopiloted. And obviously, you autopiloting means that you're probably going to be in an okay position most of the time because you have pretty good fundamentals, but it's not always going to be the best position. And then if something, and the problem with that too is especially if something weird happens, like the enemy team is running Orisa Rhine with a Mercy, like what? You're never going to see that. But you didn't even, like, it's not that hard to read. You just have to think about it for like 5 seconds. So like, oh, they have no angle control, so I can go like really, really deep on the flanks. But you never really came to that conclusion. At least you did very late. Okay. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Good luck. And remember, the most important thing you possibly can do is to be giving yourself some brain power to actually think about where you should be positioning. And doing that, whether it's through self-review, whether it's through coaching yourself in the middle of a round, even if it slows down your processes a little bit, that's the goal. Make sense?
Yes, sure.